you for joining me this afternoon as we talk about smart homes, specifically accessibility in the smart home. So, to begin with, a smart home is simply a home where you can control many of the devices over the internet. You might be living in a smart home right now and not even realize it. If you have a smart speaker in your home, you're already living in a smart home and you don't realize it. A quick show of hands, if you would, please. Raise your hand if you have a Google smart speaker in your home. There we go. Very good. Yes. Oh, wonderful. Several of you. Please raise your hand if you have an Amazon smart speaker in your home. You talk to Alexa then frequently, yes? How is she doing today? Is she doing well? Yeah, very good, very good. How many of you have an Apple smart speaker in your home? Yes. So any one of these speakers, and between them, everyone raised their hand. So in fact, all of us are living in smart homes right now. The question is, are you taking full advantage of the smart home that you're already living in? I mentioned those three speakers specifically, Google and Amazon and Apple, because those are the big three players in the smart speaker market. Back in 2018, Amazon had about half of the market, Google had about a third. Today, Google has about half of the market, and Amazon has about a third, yes? But we begin seeing that these three vendors make up the vast majority, 97% of all smart speakers in our homes today. And we saw that today as well. Among the three, that represented 100% of us in the audience today. Now, while this is exciting that all of us are living in smart homes right now, congratulations, welcome to the future, yes? You know that there are challenges with the smart home as well. If you owned a Google speaker, you look for logos like this on light bulbs and on power strips and on things like that. Because if you have something that works with Google Home and you say, "Good morning, Alexa," every morning, that device isn't going to do much for you, is it? And if you have a device that works with Alexa and I say, "Good morning, Siri," I'll be just as disappointed in that experience. So those three vendors represented three separate kingdoms. And there was very little overlap among them. This is why I'm so excited about smartphones, because there's a new standard out called Matter. What does it matter? It matters because all of a sudden, I don't need to look for light bulbs that say works best with Apple Home, works best with Alexa, works best with Google. Which one does it truly work best with? Huh? Imagine the load on the developers having to maintain three separate standards, similar but not identical. Similar in functionality, different in implementation. If there's a bug in your Alexa interface, and that's all you have is an Alexa smart speaker, there's a bug in your entire ecosystem, isn't there? Because if all I have is an Alexa and you don't work, it is 100% failure. Yeah? So instead, I start looking for light bulbs that have this label on them. Works with Matter. Why does that matter? Because it means it's going to work with whatever smart speaker I have in the home. I don't have to worry about buying Google-specific light bulbs, and it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it, to even say it. Oh, I need to buy Amazon-specific light bulbs or Apple-specific light bulbs. No! Light bulbs are commodities, aren't they? Light bulbs are light bulbs. And we should be able to buy a smart light bulb that works in any smart home you happen to live in. So, why does it matter? Matter is a new open source connectivity standard for smart homes and IoT devices, Internet of Things. We call it a light bulb. Do you call it an IoT device? I don't either. It is. It is, but it's not an IoT device. It's just a light bulb. It's just a refrigerator. It's just a microwave. It's not an IoT device. It's just a light bulb. But what's fascinating about this, in addition to being an open source connectivity standard, it aims to improve interoperability and compatibility among different manufacturers. And this is what's crucial to this standard. Because look who founded this standard. Amazon, Apple, Google. We have 97% of the smart home market represented with these three vendors, and they're working together. It used to be called the connected home over IP or chip. And as much as I liked calling it chip, I do like calling it Matter as well. So Matter is the open source technology that powers your smart home. Matter. Why does it matter? Matter is what allows you to ensmarten the things in your home. It allows you to control them over that internet device. So, this open source protocol that ensures your devices play nicely together. You said, is my microwave in an argument with my light bulb right now? Is my dishwasher and my oven, are they not on good speaking terms together? Do we need to go to family counseling? Do we need to go to appliance counseling to make sure everyone in my home gets along and can speak together nicely? Perhaps. But that's a discussion for another day. Yes? Matter enables different devices and different ecosystems to play nicely together. By having device manufacturers build to the Matter standard, we know that that is the common standard that will ensure that all these devices talk to each other and get along and play nicely in the ecosystem. And we talk about devices like light bulbs, and we talk about ecosystems like Google, Amazon, and Apple. But now we get to talk about our conversational UI agents, our conversational user interface agents as well, right? Now we get to bring up our good friends Alexa and Siri and Google. Yeah, naming things is hard, isn't it? Software engineers, sometimes they'll take the most obvious approach. So yes, so now we get a chance to talk about Alexa and Siri and Google as conversational UI agents, as well as Amazon and Apple and Google as ecosystems, as well as light bulbs and microwaves and dishwashers as devices. So you can imagine how fractally complex it would be to get all these things to align if we didn't have something like Matter, which gives us all a common target to work towards. And it's that common target that's so important, because can you use Alexa to control a Google device? Can you use Siri to control an Amazon device? Well, no. But through Matter, we can have these different voice assistants all control not just a light bulb, but the same light bulb. I have friends and colleagues who said, I have one Google speaker because I had something and it only spoke Google, and so then I had to have a speaker to control the one thing that only spoke Googlese. Yes? And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, isn't this wonderful that Google speaker you have in your basement can control things upstairs. Your Apple speakers upstairs can control things downstairs, and your Amazon speaker out in the garage can control it all as well. So it really is bringing these three unique ideas together in confluence all through matter. Now, when matter was first released just a few years ago, this was the list of things that it supported. It's quite an impressive list. But let me talk for a moment about the first three: light bulbs, and light switches, and smart speakers. If you have a smart speaker at home, and you do, the next thing you can do is go out and buy a light bulb. Any light bulb that just says matter enabled, powered by matter, works with matter. You can bring that light bulb home and screw it in, register it, and then all of a sudden, that smart speaker you can speak to. And you can say, hey Google, bedroom light on. Hey Alexa, bedroom light off. It's just as simple as screwing in a simple light bulb, registering it, and then using your voice, using that agent, using that smart speaker to control it. That's how I got started. I said, I'm curious about this. I have one of those smart speakers. I wonder, will I use this? I don't know. I don't want to bring in an electrician and rewire my entire home, right? But I can go out and buy a light bulb, screw it in, and test around with it. And that's a great way to get started with this. This is a great way for you to experiment with a smart home. Build your budding smart home out. And if you just have a single lamp that takes a single light bulb, then replacing your old dumb light bulb? How about plain light bulb? How about we call that? That sounds more polite, isn't it? Yeah, you can replace a plain light bulb with a smart light bulb and you can begin using it. But in my family room, I have a ceiling fan and a light fixture that takes 3 light bulbs. So now all of a sudden it's 3 times the cost to ensmarten my lights down in my family room. But now all of a sudden I have to say something like, hey Siri, family room light 1 on, family room light 2 on, family room light 3 on. And by that time, I'm so out of breath, I forgot why I was turning on the lights in the first place, right? And so in some cases, it might be more efficient for you to go and replace the light switch on the wall instead of individual light bulbs. That's exactly what I did in my family room. I took out my 3 smart light bulbs and put in 3 plain light bulbs. It was far less expensive doing it that way. And then with 1 light switch, I was able to ensmarten the entire light fixture. And this is important to realize as well, because if you screw a smart light bulb into a light fixture, that's basically a computer now, isn't it? You've screwed a computer into that light socket. And if you walk over to the wall and turn off the power to that computer, how effective do you think your smart home is going to be? Not very. Computers that are turned off are not particularly effective computers. So then what do you have to do? Well, you have to yell at everyone in your family. How many times have I told you not to turn off the lights in the family room? But Dad, you always tell me to turn off the lights in the family room. What's going on here? What's differently? Perhaps you'll use a little bit of tape on that light switch, right? No, you might realize that, oh, the best solution here is actually to replace that conventional light switch with a smart light switch so that when I turn it off at the switch, there's still power going to the light fixture. It's not turning off the computers in the light switch. It's just turning off the illumination of those computers. What's especially nice as well is you can buy smart light switches that are dimmers as well. And so then you really begin seeing that this light switch isn't just doing a coarse-grained on, off, power, no power to the light switch. It's doing lots of different things. And so in many cases, I found it was more efficient for me to go through, after I had experimented with light bulbs, to go through and begin replacing light switches. But then I have lamps in my home that aren't necessarily tied to a light switch. They're just kind of all over the place. So you can buy smart plugs as well. Anything that's plugged into your wall right now, you can unplug it, plug it into a smart plug, and then plug your smart plug into the wall. And then once again, are you beginning to build a mental model of what's going on there? Are you beginning to build a mental model of what's no longer on the screen? Your mental model now is, oh, this smart plug is going to allow me to interrupt the power without turning off the computer. There we go. Thank you so much. So light bulbs and switches and smart plugs gives us the nuance that we need to start building out our smart home, if you'll forgive me, in a more intelligent way, in a more nuanced way. You have lots of different solutions here, varying degrees of expense and complexity, but you have many solutions to build a very nuanced solution for your smart home. You can have smart locks on your door. Our TVs were Matter enabled and we had no idea. We just began, as we screwed in our first light bulb and started detecting new devices, our television showed up. And I'm like, how lovely is that? Now, we never use Alexa to turn on the TV. We never use Google to turn off the TV. But there's been that rare occasion where my wife and I are upstairs getting ready to go to bed, and she says, did I turn off the TV downstairs? I don't remember. And so she's able to pull up the smart home and turn off the TV from bed upstairs. Or she's able to close the blinds from the bedroom upstairs. Or she's able to make sure we close the garage door before we went to bed. Or she's able to go and change the temperature in the house before we go to bed. Do you see what we mean? When someone calls it a smart home, you start thinking to yourself, well, how smart can it really be? And you realize how much nuance and how much power and how much capability is brought just by introducing a computer to the equation. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities. So this is what Matter 1.0 controlled. Matter 1.2 came out just in October of last year, and Matter 1.2 incorporated refrigerators and air conditioners and dishwashers and robot vacuums. We have a robot vacuum. We bought one cat over COVID, and we wanted to buy a second cat. And my wife told me that if you want to buy a second cat, you must also buy a robotic vacuum to vacuum up all the cat hair, all this. So over COVID, I got 2 brand new cats and a lovely robot vacuum to go along with it. Now, our robot vacuum, I have to wait and see. Is it a firmware upgrade away from Matter support? Because honestly, any device that supports Google or supports Amazon, supports Apple, is oftentimes just a firmware upgrade away from Matter support as well. So if you are already dealing with smart devices that work in one ecosystem, see if there's an upgrade. See if you can take it from one closed system, one small closed system, to one large, open, standards-based system. In 2024, they're expecting to include security cameras, energy management, chargers for your EV. When I show you my smart home in just a moment here, one of the things it tells me is whether I'm using dirty energy to power my house at the moment or clean energy. I have solar panels on the roof. So during the day, I go into my smart home and it says, oh, wonderful, you're using clean energy right now. It's the sun hitting my roof, powering the smart speaker, which allows me to turn around and power my smart devices. At night, the sun doesn't shine in Denver. I don't know, does the sun shine here in Bengaluru at night? No? It makes it difficult for solar panels, doesn't it? And so at night, when I go into the smart home, it says I'm using dirty energy. I'm pulling energy from the grid instead of my panels. Now, if I had whole house batteries, then during the day, I would be using clean energy to power the batteries in my basement. At night, I would be drawing power from the batteries in my basement instead of the grid. So it's these little things. I walk into a house that's plain, not dumb, not unintelligent, but a plain house. I don't have that level of nuance. I don't understand the quality of the power I'm consuming to power the device. And with just the addition of one smart speaker and one light bulb, I'm able to approach turning on lights with a whole new level of sophistication with an eye towards sustainability, among other things. So, here is what Matter Life looks like now.
And of the device you're adding. Sign in.
Would you like to see the video from the beginning or from the middle? It's up to you. How about I show it to you from the beginning? Shall we do that?
Turn Home Sweet Home into your Home Sweet Connected Home with the Google Assistant. Hey Google, start my coffee maker. With the Google Assistant, you can control thousands of smart home devices from hundreds of partners, so you can be more organized and get things done. Hey Google, start the vacuum. You can also adjust the temperature and control smart appliances with just your voice. It's easy to get started. All you need is a Google Assistant-enabled device, like the speaker, and a smart device that works with the Google Assistant, like the smart light bulb. First, go to the menu of your Google Home app. Tap Home Control. Then add the device by tapping the plus. Next, select the brand of the device you're adding. Sign in, tap Done, and your device is paired. Hey Google, turn on the light. With the Google Assistant, your Home Sweet Connected Home comes alive. And using just your voice, hey Google, turn off the light. You can shut it down. For a list of all the smart home devices that work with the Google Assistant, go here.
Now consider for a moment that this was a cartoon targeted at a non-technical audience, but could you see all of the themes we've touched on here? How did it begin? He says, would you like to live in a smart home? All you need is this smart speaker right here. Oh, what's the next step? Oh, you could go through this whole list of items. Perhaps you'd like a smart light bulb. And as you screw in the light bulb, you register it with the Google ecosystem. And then he was using his voice to power the vacuum, or his voice to turn on the lights, or his voice to do all those kinds of things. So without talking about any of the technical details at all, they gave us a wonderful overview of exactly what we've been talking about. Welcome to the smart home. Yeah? So that controller that he was using. A Matter controller is a new term that I'm introducing right now. What's interesting about Matter controllers is you already have one. As a matter of fact, you already have a number of Matter controllers and you might not have even realized it. One obvious Matter controller is the smart speaker. When you put a smart speaker in your house and you say things like, hey Google, bedroom light on. Hey Google, vacuum start. Hey Google, blinds down. You're using that smart speaker as a Matter controller because you're controlling smart devices in your house. What's interesting as well is, in addition to smart speakers and displays and hubs, the Matter and Stattern is also built into Android and iOS. So if you own an Android phone, or an iPhone, or an iPad, or an Apple laptop, you already have a Matter controller as well. We are so used to saying, oh, the only way you're going to get onto TikTok is to have the TikTok app. The only way you're going to get into Facebook is to have the Facebook app. Oh, you want to look me on LinkedIn? What do we need altogether now? The LinkedIn app. This is not an app. This is not a single vendor solution. This is an open source industry standard. So the fact that it's already baked into all these things, it's a little bit unsettling because you say, what do I have to download to get started? And you say, nothing. You're like, oh, really? I can reach for my phone? Yes. I can reach for my iPad? Yes. My laptop? Yes. My smart speaker? Of course. So this Matter controller is everywhere. And the reason I'm making such a big deal about a Matter controller is we're going to introduce Thread in just a moment here. Remember we said this is accessible smart homes using Matter and Thread. There's another player to introduce ourselves to. But before I move on to Thread, I want you to have Matter controller embedded into your mind, because that is the role Matter plays in this. Matter is how you control all the smart devices in your home. So Google Home does more with Matter. You can have Google Home installed on your Android phone. You can have Google Home installed on your laptop. Amazon. If you have a smart speaker, that Amazon speaker is your Matter controller. But what's interesting is because we have Matter controllers on all these different devices, you're not limited to just using your voice to control these things. I want to introduce some nuance to this equation. There are some people who don't like speaking to smart speakers. They feel self-conscious. They say, oh, this speaker doesn't understand me. Alexa just doesn't understand me. Yes? So it's just one way to do this. We have a multimodal interface with Matter. You can not only use your voice if it's quiet and everyone's asleep. I don't want to say, hey, Siri, turn out the lights. The baby's sleeping, right? I want to very quietly tap on my iPhone to turn off the lights. But by the same token, when I'm in the kitchen and I'm making sourdough bread and my hand is all covered with dough, I don't want to touch my watch and get bread dough all over that. And so while I'm kneading my dough, I want to just look over my shoulder and say, hey, Siri, set a timer for 20 minutes. So based on the context of the situation, I might choose to use my voice, or I might choose to use my fingers, or I might choose to do things in a number of different ways. Smart light bulbs were easy for me to purchase because they were cheap and inexpensive, and I got it. I turn on lights all the time. Let me just solve this with a $5 or a $10 solution and be done with it. Smart blinds were more difficult for me. They were a several $100 investment. I said, can I really not just get up, walk across the room in the morning and open the blinds and then go about my day, and at night close it? If I'm only going to be opening and closing these blinds twice a day, do I really need to automate it? I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did, because not only can I walk over and open it like I can do, I can also just kind of glance in my office and in the morning say, hey Siri, brighten. and she will brighten my room. By saying brighten, that's an automation I have set up to not only raise the blinds, but turn on the lights. I'm ready to work for the day, and so I say brighten. I can also say, hey Siri, darken, and she turns out not just one light, not two lights, but all the lights in my office and close the blinds. And that's great. I'm still controlling it through my voice. But then I turned on the automation that simply every morning at sunrise, I would like you to raise these blinds. And every night at sundown, I would like you to lower these blinds as well. For the first time in my professional life, I have plants in my office because I don't have to be smart enough to remember to open the blinds so my plants don't die. So that subtle step of automation, that subtle step of saying, it's not just opening the blinds, it's opening the blinds and turning on the lights and whatever else I might need to do. I can coordinate all these activities together, and I can do it with my voice or a tap of a finger or some automated trigger. We now have sensors that can detect if people are in the room or not. What if I simply walked into my office and just simply by being present, it raised the blinds and turned on the lights and made everything ready for me to work? This isn't science fiction. This is all options that are available. And they're not just options that are available in the Apple ecosystem, they're available in the Google ecosystem, and they're available in the Amazon ecosystem as well. So I'm in the Apple ecosystem, and that's what I'm going to show you here in just a moment. But when I look at all the different devices, a watch, a phone, an iPad, a laptop, I'm sad to admit there is probably not a time when I'm not within speaking distance or touching distance of at least one of these things. When I first started, I thought I exclusively had to use smart speakers. So I bought a smart speaker for the kitchen, and another for the bedroom, and another for my office, and another for my kids' room, and another, and another, and another. And then what I realized is when I'm sitting in my office and I would talk to Siri, I never knew if it was going to be my watch that responded, or the smart speaker, or the laptop in front of me, or the iPad set next to it. So that is a concern as well. But what I have discovered now is if I'm in the shower and not wearing my watch, there's still a smart speaker, and I can say, hey Siri, volume up, so I can hear what's going on. And then there are other times when I'm in the garage late at night. I don't have my phone on me or certainly a laptop or anything else, but I can say, hey Siri, garage lights on. And it can turn on the lights long enough for me to take out the garbage. And as I'm coming back in, I can hit the switch on the wall, or just as I'm walking in, I can say, hey Siri, garage lights off, and go about my business. Again, it's not that any one of these ways of turning on a light is revolutionary. But what's revolutionary is being able to use all of these different ways to turn on the lights in a context-appropriate way. I have all these capabilities available to me, and I can choose the one that makes most sense given the circumstances. So this is my Apple Smart Home. I'm using the Apple Home app right here. This Home app is available on my laptop, on my tablet, on my phone. So at a glance, I can come through here and I can see everything that's going on. Now, each one of these devices are just that. It's a light bulb. This light bulb doesn't happen to know what room it's in or anything. So many times when you're registering one of these devices, the question it'll ask is, what room is this in? It's not for Apple's benefit. It's not for Matter's benefit. It's for you silly humans, right? For us silly humans, we want to be able to do things like, oh, I want to turn on all the lights in my office or all the lights off in my office. And so grouping together by rooms is a convenient way to start doing group automations and group actions. I can see that it's a variety of different devices. I have lights, I have a blind, I have TVs and HomePods. And what's lovely is as I click through each one of these things, when I click on a light, I get something that looks like this. It's very easy for me to swipe up to turn the lights on and swipe down to turn the lights off. If that light's on a dimmer, I can move it up gradually and move it down gradually. Otherwise, it just flips on and off. But this is the standard way I deal with lights in my house. Blinds work much the same way. I can see that my lights were off and my blinds were closed. It's because when I did these screenshots, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning in Denver. It's 3 in the afternoon here in Bengaluru. 12 and a half hours off, yeah? And so the same thing, I can tell at a glance that my lights are off, my blinds are down. I can flick up to turn on, to open the blinds if necessary. My TV, I can't change the volume, I can't change the channel, I can't do anything interesting here, but the fact that it's a smart TV and the fact that I can turn it off and change the inputs are helpful as well, because as I said, if we're laying in bed and we say, do you hear something? Is that the TV? We can see if it's on, and then we can turn it off, which oftentimes is all I want to do. If I'm in the actual room with the TV, I've got a remote control. I'll use that remote control. This is for when I'm not in the room and just want to simply turn it off. Who knew that having a smart thermostat could save a marriage? But it did. My wife absolutely loves it. She was skeptical. She said, I can turn on lights on my own. I can walk downstairs and turn off a TV. Oh, but this thermostat. Does he feel a little bit cold to you? If your wife asks you that, the answer is always yes. Yes, it feels a little cold. Are you a little bit warm? Oh, sweltering, right? And so being able to pull this up and adjust it and move it around, of course, we can automate this. So she can say, oh, I like it to be a little bit cooler at night while I sleep, a little bit warmer during the day. Oh, we're not home during the day, and so we're going to make it a little bit cooler while we're not there. But, oh, we are going to be there on the weekends, and so we're going to set up automated schedules. So on the weekend, it treats the home differently than it does during the week. It treats days differently than it treats nights. Again, it brings up a whole new level of sophistication that we never experienced before. But that's just matter. We have to discuss thread as well. And these two do go together. Like vada and sambar. Yeah, you can't have one without the other. So matter, as we said, was the controller. It's how we turn things on, it's how we turn things off, it's how we automate things. Matter is how we control things. Thread is a low-power, secure, internet-based mesh networking connection for IoT products. Any questions? Perfect sense, yeah? It actually isn't too shabby at all. Let's watch a quick video and see if we can make sense of thread.
You can relax, recover, and enjoy. Everything in a home should make it easier to just be. That's why we created Thread Group.
Thread was designed with one goal in mind, and that is to create the best way to connect products in your home. Our wireless networking protocol allows you to simply and securely, reliably connect hundreds of products in and around your home, from everyday appliances to your thermostat and your home security system.
It's hard to get devices to talk to each other. And once the connection is there, it's often spotty and power hungry. That's why we designed Thread. We wanted to build a solution that uses proven wireless technologies and create a networking protocol that really accelerates the adoption of the Internet of Things in the home.
The connected home is gaining widespread adoption as consumers see the benefits of device-to-device communication in their everyday lives.
Thread's technology was developed to meet the needs of connected home products and also overcome issues that were present in other wireless networking standards. Our technology isn't reliant on Wi-Fi or a home's internet connection. Rather, it sets up a separate home network to allow your devices to independently communicate amongst themselves.
Thread's approach to wireless networking offers numerous advantages over other wireless standards, including a secure and reliable mesh network with no single point of failure, simple connectivity, and low power. Thread networks are easy to set up. You can be up and running in a matter of minutes using your smartphone, tablet, or computer. The technology is designed for quick implementation, so you can connect products like your door locks, light bulbs, and ceiling fans to each other and to the internet. Millions of wireless devices on the market can run Thread with a simple software upgrade.
Thread was designed from the ground up to have extremely low power consumption, allowing for years of operation, even on a single AA battery. So now it's easy to monitor, control, and manage your home energy usage to increase efficiency and save money. At Thread Group, we make it easier for you to enjoy your home. And the connected home is built on Thread.
Again, another nice video, non-technical as you can tell, right? But as technologists, we can begin teasing technical details out of this mainstream video. Thread is a network protocol. You might have heard them say that it creates a mesh network of all your devices. We're going to talk more about that, the mesh network, but I'm bringing this up because that's the important thing for you to realize. If we look at Matter and we look at Thread, why does something matter? Why does our smart home matter? Well, it matters to us as humans. Thread matters to the devices. Thread is the low-level IPv6-based low-power mesh networking technology that allows all your IoT devices to talk to each other. And you start thinking to yourself, oh, wonderful. Another standard, another technology, another, wait, you mean that Google, Amazon, and Apple are behind Thread as well? And you say, okay, now I feel much better. So it can be confusing, but the way to really think about that is you have Matter controllers and you have Thread networks. And what's important about this is the Wi-Fi network at your home is exactly the same network that all your smart devices are going to use. So in that sense, you can say, oh, those smart light bulbs and those refrigerators and everything else, they're just on my Wi-Fi network. And while that's true, I'd like to yes and that, saying in fact, if you have a Matter controller, chances are good you also have a Thread border router. No one is going to sell one without the other. That smart speaker that is your Matter controller is also your Thread boundary router. So if you think about it, that smart speaker, when it's facing humans, it's acting as a Matter controller. And when it's facing all of the smart devices in your home, it's acting as a Thread border router. So it's one device, but serving two different roles, serving two different constituencies. So a good way to visualize it is this. So here's your Wi-Fi router at home, sitting right there. You have that, and that's plugged into your internet service provider. This is how you get out to the internet in general. You know that at home, you could have wired devices that all have a point-to-point connection to that router, or you could have Wi-Fi devices that all have a point-to-point connection to that router. Those are your Matter controllers now, right? Look, there's your smart speaker, there's your phone. This one is generic. We don't know. Perhaps it's a laptop, perhaps a tablet. We don't know. But the important thing is your typical Wi-Fi network, your typical TCP/IP connection is point to point. And when we come to conferences like this where we have thousands of people together in the same room, does that help your Wi-Fi connectivity or hurt it? Hurts it, doesn't it? Yeah. When it comes to Thread, the opposite occurs. Now, your Thread devices are on your same home Wi-Fi network, but they're using IPv6 Most of our devices are using IPv4. If you're used to seeing an IP address that's 192.168.1 dot something, 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 that's an IPv4 address. IPv6 has been around as well. Those are the long, odd hexadecimal addresses and everything. But IPv6 is just like TCP/IP, but the difference is all of your devices form a mesh network. So it means the more devices you add, the more IoT devices to your home, the more robust your network is, the stronger your network is, because these devices can talk to each other on the way. If I've got a light that's all the way out in my back patio, but I have a light switch to my back patio, that light switch can act as a thread extender, and that can extend the network to that light bulb so it can strengthen the connection as we get through there. So honestly, it's interesting. The more light bulbs you add, the more thread extenders you're adding. You're making your network more robust. The more light switches you add, the more power switches that you add. All of those things, you're adding more and more extenders. You're making your network more robust, not less. It's a fascinating way to do it. And all of this is working on your Wi-Fi, but all of a sudden now we have a slightly more sophisticated, a slightly more nuanced understanding of what's going on. But what I especially like about this, the reason they call it a border router, is there is an invisible dotted line right here, isn't there? These are my speakers in my smartphones saying, "Hey Siri, turn on the bedroom lights." They come down here and they say, "Turn on the bedroom lights." And then all of these things can send those messages out until it eventually gets to the bedroom and those lights are turned on. Do you see how thread and matter are two sides of the same coin? They're complementary technologies that have very different purposes, but they serve the same goal of making your house robust and fault tolerant and smart. Yes.
So, for example, she's looking for her farming solution where, all can turn on the water, dripping water. So, their farming solutions are there. Like, for example, she needs to water 20,000 dragon plants she has, which needs about 20 to 40 walls.
It's a wonderful question. If you allow me to paraphrase, you said all of your examples so far, Scott, are about the smart home. What if I have a farming application, an agricultural application where I need to water 20,000 dragon fruit? Absolutely, this works. These have very strong industrial components as well. And so there are all kinds of examples out there. You might set up your water to water on a simple clock basis that, hey, we're going to water for 20 minutes every morning at 10 a.m. Or you might have moisture sensors in the individual plants, and as a moisture sensor hits a dangerous threshold, it begins watering just that plant until that water sensor reaches an appropriate level in there. There are a whole variety of solutions we can do. That's absolutely possible with today's technology. Wonderful question. Thank you so much. The sensors, absolutely, yes. So there are sensors out there, and so many of these can be solved with low-powered computing devices like Arduinos and Raspberry Pis as well. I've done this at the corporate level, where we've done corporate sensors and corporate development like this. Unfortunately, I did it many decades ago before Matter and Thread were in the picture. But yeah, these are absolutely non-solutions.
Like 28
Yeah, absolutely. It's fascinating, isn't it? It's fascinating. And these are industry standards, and so you know you aren't tied to one particular vendor or one particular solution or one particular technology stack as well. As long as these vendors implement Matter and Thread, you know that you can use a variety of different solutions. So this is Matter, and this is Thread. Two sides of the same coin. Matter controllers allow humans to control those smart devices. Thread mesh networks allow those devices to all communicate with each other in a low power IPv6 mesh network. But the title of this talk was The Accessible Smart Home. Times of India had this lovely article that led with people with disabilities often face unique challenges in accessing and controlling their living environments. Unique challenges that you would never have to deal with yourself, like turning on a light or raising a blind or changing the thermostat. Of course, I'm making a joke, right? This is what's interesting about accessibility. I told you that I take a yes and approach to accessibility. So if someone is in a wheelchair, would being in a smart home where they can use their voice to turn on the lights be effective for them? Yes. And for all the people who aren't in wheelchairs as well. If you are blind or have low vision, would being able to use a smart speaker be an effective way for you to unlock the front door? Yes. And for all of us who aren't blind or low vision as well. So many people, when they hear accessibility, they think disability. And it's a common mistake to make. But the root of accessibility is access. And at the end of the day, that's all we're talking about right now, is we're talking about all the different ways we can access the smart devices in our homes. That is orthogonal to whether or not you have a disability or not. Because what we're talking about is delighting all of our senses. And if we can use all of our senses to interact with these devices, it doesn't matter if we have a disability or not. This idea of multisensory architecture is just that. Can we delight all the senses? Can I use all of my senses to control the devices in my smart home? The answer should be yes. Now, if I have a particular disability, it means I might have one less sense than other people do. And this is why multisensory architecture is so critical as well. Because if you are lacking one sense, you still need all the other senses to be in play so you can still accomplish the same things. So we don't need to be building weak, one-dimensional applications. We need to be building robust, multisensory applications. So in the context of my situation, if my hand is covered with sourdough, I want to be able to use my voice. If the baby is sleeping, I want to be able to tap on glass. This is simply having access to all the capabilities of my smart home through all of my senses. Let's watch a video that explores this idea. See if you can see the smart home make an appearance in this video.
People think that having a disability is a barrier. But that's not the way I see it. You can catch up with friends.
Ready?
You can capture a moment with your family. One face, small face, focus lock. And you can start the day bright and early. You can take a trip to somewhere new. 3 miles to the summit. You can concentrate on every word of a story.
A bird began to sing. Jack opened his eyes.
You can take the long way home. Or edit a film like this one. When technology is designed for everyone, it lets anyone do what they love, including me.
Isn't that just lovely? The woman who made that video, you saw her. Her name was Sadie. Did you notice who narrated the video? Her name is Siri. But this was an example of multi-sensory architecture right here. As we talk about smart homes, it's almost impossible to not talk about accessibility because we're talking about ways of making all the devices in our home more accessible to all of us through all of our senses. And so when it comes to smart home technologies, when we look at convenience or novelty, we have to look at accessibility as one of the core reasons we're doing this. Let me give you a more specific example of what we're talking about.
Google Assistant Accessibility Videos. Welcome. I am Kiran Kaja, and I am the accessibility lead for Search and Assistant at Google. Google's mission is to organize world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. We take this mission very seriously, and we believe that access to information and technology can have a profound impact on lives of people with disabilities. I am legally blind myself. I have a little bit of light perception, but no useful sight. I rely entirely on assistive technology as well as accessible mainstream technology to be productive at work and to live independently. In this video series, I'm going to tell you how Search and Assistant features benefit users with disabilities. Your Google Assistant can help you find information or perform tasks all by using voice, or if you prefer, a keyboard. You can think of the Google Assistant as the brains behind Google Home, which is a smart speaker made by Google. The Assistant is what powers the device. Here's one way I use my Assistant. Hey Google, what's my agenda for today?
There are 2 entries today. At 4 p.m. you have meet with Jack. After that, at 5 p.m. you have team off-site.
As you can see, it was simple and straightforward. I didn't have to find my mobile phone, unlock it, use my screen reader to navigate the touchscreen, find the Google app, and find the agenda. I could just ask the Assistant instead. Your Assistant can help you on a wide range of devices, including Google Home speakers, Android smartphones, iPhones, iPads, smart TVs, and much, much more. The Google Assistant reduces complexity in interacting with technology, and not just for blind and visually impaired users. Later on in this series, my colleague Patrick, who uses a wheelchair, will talk about how the Google Assistant has helped him live more independently. To learn more ways the Google Assistant can help you in your daily life, watch the rest of the videos in this series, linked in the description below. If your needs are not met in this video series, please check back soon for more videos with additional tips. To learn more about accessibility features in Google products, please visit google.com/accessibility. You can also contact the Google Accessibility Support Desk by sending an email to disability-support@google.com. Alternatively, you can tweet us at Google Access.
Isn't that lovely? Now, what about that feature is limited to only people who are blind or have low vision? Nothing, right? That's a feature that I use regularly. This is the yes and approach to technology. He says, oh, it's a hassle to find my phone and navigate the screen and do all those kinds of things. It's a hassle for him. It's a hassle for me as well. Yes, this is a great feature for someone who's blind, low vision, and it's a great feature for everyone else as well. And that's what we mean. These smart home techs represent accessibility and assistive technology at its very best. But there is no meaningful distinction between these being used by someone with a disability and them being used by someone without a disability. Let me show you one more example of this and I will leave you for the day.
Google Assistant accessibility videos. Control your smart home with the Google Assistant. Requires compatible devices.
Hello, my name is Patrick Clary, and I'm a product manager on the Google Accessibility Engineering team. Today, I'd like to show you some features that use the Assistant to control smart home devices by voice. Being a wheelchair user, these make it very easy for me to control different things around my home. For example, I have a Nest Learning thermostat, which is a smart thermostat connected to my home Wi-Fi network. I can control it using the Nest app on my phone or using the Google Assistant. For instance, I can say, "Okay, Google, set the entryway temperature to 75 degrees.
Sure, setting the entryway to 75 degrees.
In some homes, the thermostat might be installed high in the wall, which makes getting to it in a wheelchair difficult. Controlling the thermostat with the Google Assistant is much easier. For people with vision impairments or who are blind, using a thermostat can be especially difficult. Very few thermostats are accessible for these users. In this case, using the Google Assistant provides much needed accessibility. Smart lights are another category of devices that you can control using your Google Assistant. For example, I can say, "Okay, Google, turn on the living room lights."
Sure, turning 3 lights on.
We are using Philips Hue lights for this demo, but there are a wide range of lights that the Google Assistant supports. I also happen to have the Nest Hello video doorbell and a Nest Aware subscription. Using the Nest app, I can assign names to faces and it will recognize people as they approach. My Google Assistant on Google Home will tell me who's at my door.
Kieran is at the door.
That's my colleague Kieran. Since I have a smart door lock, I can unlock my front door using the Assistant as well. Okay, Google, unlock the front door.
Can I have your security code to unlock the front door?
2035.
Okay, unlocking the front door.
If your TV is Chromecast enabled, if someone unknown is at the door, you can ask the Google Assistant to show the video feed from your doorbell.
Someone's at the front door.
Okay, Google, who's at the door?
You got it, streaming the front door on living room TV.
Since the smart home devices are connected to the Google Assistant via my Google account, I can control them when I'm away from home using my phone. One other useful feature of the Google Assistant is routines. With routines, I can have my Google Assistant perform multiple actions with just a single command. For example, I can say, "Okay, Google, good morning," and have it set the temperature to 72 degrees, turn on the coffee maker, turn up the lights, play me the news, and tell me about the weather. Routines can be customizable and can even be set for a fixed time. Hey Google, good morning.
Hi Patrick, it is 10:50 a.m. Right now in Mountain View, it's 57 and sunny. Today, it'll be sunny with a forecasted high of 70 and a low of 43. Have a wonderful day.
These are some of the ways that the Assistant can take away the stress of your daily tasks. For more ways that the Google Assistant can help you in your daily life, check out the videos in the rest of the series, linked in the description below. We love to hear from our users, so if you have any comments or feedback about the accessibility features of the Google Assistant, Google Home, or other Google products, feel free to email us at disability-support@google.com, tweet us at Google Access, or for a complete list of accessibility support options, visit our website at support.google.com/accessibility.
Which of those features would you like to have in your house right now? All of them, please. Yes? Do I feel bad about showing you what was essentially a Google commercial to end this? I don't. Because on the one hand, I say, "Hey Siri, good morning." And when I say that, Siri turns on the lights in my kitchen and she turns on the lights in my family room and she raises the blind. So I looked at that commercial and I said, oh, I don't use Google to do that. I use Siri to do that. And why am I able to use Siri to do that? It's the whole reason we're here. It's because I live in a smart home. I can use an internet-connected device to control all of my lights, but not just a single internet-connected device. Internet-connected devices from Amazon or Google or Apple, and smart light bulbs from any vendor at all. But the secret is the smart speaker. Not because I want you to talk to your speaker, although you can. I'm a big fan of multi-sensory architecture, but knowing that putting the speaker in your house brings a Matter controller to the party, as well as a Thread border router to the party, means that a simple smart speaker and smartens your entire home. As long as you buy devices that are built for Matter, you know that it will fit into any ecosystem. You will be able to use any smart assistant to be able to control these devices. Matter is the controller. Why does it matter? It matters to humans. Thread is the mesh network. It's the thread that ties all the devices in your smart home together. But this idea of multi-sensory architecture, being able to use your voice, being able to use your watch, being able to use your iPhone or your iPad or your laptop or your desktop, means that you can use this through all of your senses, not just one. And that, friends, is accessibility in the smart house. Did you enjoy yourself? I did as well. Thank you so much.